mean,
what's the other choice anyone is offering?
For example, the president could have said to the Ghani government in May, look, we're going to start a mass evacuation of all of the U.S. personnel. We're going to put out an announcement that says, you know, we advise all of our Afghan allies who worked with us to start evacuating as well. It would have been a show of no confidence in the Ghani government. There might have been other repercussions. I'm not suggesting that's the right way to have gone. I don't know, but it is another option, and I'm sure there's 10 other options that I haven't thought of. So why do you present it as these being the only two options?
There are, of course, other options, but there are consequences to every option. That is my point. So let's take your example. If we had evacuated and moved in C-17s, 6,000 troops, I think that's what you're suggesting, and implemented this evacuation in May, you know what would have happened in all likelihood? The threat on U.S. forces would have increased at that point in time. ISIS-K.
But you would have been operating in a capital that wasn't overrun by the Taliban.
How do you know that?
Well, the Taliban wasn't near Kabul at that point.
Look, Mike, I think it's easy to play backseat. Let's look at what could have happened 3 months, 4 months ago. I think we've been clear on a couple of things, I will just say. No one anticipated, I think including on the outside, that the Afghan government would have fallen at the pace they fell. And the president and members of our national security team have spoken to that as well. We didn't anticipate the Afghan national security forces would have folded as they did. We didn't anticipate that. And as a result of that all happening, we saw a chaotic situation just 2 weeks ago. So you can always, my point in the response to the question is that there are consequences to any of these difficult choices and decisions. That is what faces you as commander-in-chief, and that was the larger point I was trying to make.
Thank you. I have two questions about the president's commitment to give it to us straight, as he often says. The Democratic Congressman Seth Moulton told the journalist Hunter Walker, a former White House colleague, quote, even if you completely agree with the Biden administration's decision to withdraw, the way they have handled this has been a total F-U-C-K-I-N-G disaster. President Biden firmly committed last night to evacuate any remaining Americans, but you seem to say just now, I don't think we can guarantee that. So which is it?
I think the question was actually about individuals who are still there because they're not prepared to leave, or other Afghans or others who may want to depart. Just for clarity, I know you care about context.
So there is a commitment to evacuate all Americans, and if so, does that mean there's some sort of deal with the Taliban?
I don't even understand what your question is.
The question is that the airport evacuation obviously was disorganized, as criticized even by Democratic congressmen. Is there actually a plan behind President Biden's commitment to evacuate any remaining Americans?
I think the fact that we've evacuated more than 105,000 people, including, and I can give you all the latest numbers, which I know the State Department is giving or is about to give. So of those evacuated since August 14th, we've evacuated at least 5,100 U.S. citizens, likely more. We've received confirmation within the last day more than 300 additional Americans were evacuated. Based on our outreach, there are approximately 500 American citizens we are currently working with who want to leave, and we're communicating directly and in direct contact with them. That speaks to our commitment, I think.
My second question on the topic is, yesterday the conservative transparency group Judicial Watch released Secret Service records on dog bites involving the first dog, Major. One email said that Secret Service agents were bitten every single day for 8 days from March 1st to March 8th, and that a White House visitor was as well. At a March 9th briefing, you only described one biting incident to us and described the dogs as being whisked back to Delaware on a pre-planned trip to visit family friends. Obviously, that is not the world's most important story, but it is significant because we expect honest information even for minor stories. So can you explain to us why there was some kind of misleading account presented to us? And if we can't get honest information about minor stories, why should we have faith in the administration's account for larger issues like Afghanistan?
I know you do keep the dog in the news in the briefing room, so thank you for that. As we've stated previously, Major has had some challenges adjusting to life in the White House. He has been receiving additional training, as well as spending some time in Delaware, where the environment is more familiar to him and he is more comfortable. I don't have any additional specifics, but I think that speaks to where Major is located, to be fully transparent in your ongoing interest in the dog.
I would like to ask you, there is link between Taliban and ISIS because the Taliban released from the prisoner from the jail based of US and Taliban agreement. Now Afghan people more worried if the Taliban and ISIS-K, they are friends, it's going to be okay, and still they are friends with the Al-Qaeda too, which is they didn't keep their commitment. Or if not, do you think that it's going to be, started again another civil war in Afghanistan? I don't understand. Taliban and ISIS, they are friends or they are enemy?
I think there's clear historic evidence that they have been enemies in the past. I don't have any assessment beyond what we've said over the last few days about the fact that we have no information to suggest that the Taliban had knowledge of or engagement in the ISIS-K attack. Beyond that, what we have available or what I can speak to as historic precedent.